saluto a tutti.
Ciao Juventini, welcome back to the AJC. And yes, the big news. Everybody's getting pumped up. Giuntoli to Juve. What a way to start a long weekend. That is obviously going to be one of the headlines we'll be tackling, as well as all the other mercato rumblings. All right, hope you guys are getting ready for a nice long weekend over here. Kicking things off with Friday. Josh, what's up? What's up? Ciao, JSKP. And Omar, how are you doing, man?
Well, hello everyone. Happy Friday. Eid Mubarak to everyone who is celebrating Eid al-Adha. I'm doing great. I'm fine. Ready to roll.
There you go. There you go. Never dull moments surrounding Juve. A lot of news going
Ah,
on. Yesterday we were having, the day before yesterday we were having Zaniolo twerking for Juve, maybe trying to give us a little bit of leverage there or whatnot. Parisi deal. That seems to be halted, but I'm not buying that news, and we're going to talk about that as well. TV rights negotiations kicking off. Everybody's kind of fired up because of Juve set to be in this certain time slot, the earlier time slots, whatnot. I'm actually hearing the opposite, is that we will still have a lot of prime time, just because if you look even at last season, we were still the top draw as far as ratings go and everything, but everybody's jacked up on Giuntoli coming in. We might as well kick things off. We weren't going to kick things off with Giuntoli, but maybe we should. Hey, Omer?
yeah, it seems like the biggest piece of business you have done
We're
so
going to
far.
Yeah, let's kick things off with Giuntoli, okay? So absolutely Apex, absolutely. Still most watched team in Italy, okay? The Chihuahuas just like to bark. Speaking of the Chihuahuas, they like to yip, and they're continuing to yip about this Giuntoli move. Because now today you hear like it's this big ploy, and oh yeah, look at ADL. He got them to wait for 1 month to get Giuntoli and whatnot. Juve was prepared to wait 1 month. They were also prepared to wait 1 year. It's not the end of the world. And I don't actually think that Giuntoli comes in and changes the world all right now from joining. He's going to obviously continue to let Mana work his thing for a bit and then assess everything. And then as we move forward, he will obviously get his plan moving and whatnot. But this Mercado will still be Mana's for the large part. Do you agree?
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, those are big shoes to fill, big role to get into, especially, right before the start of the Mercado. I believe it would take Giuntoli a bit of time. I think he avoided Juve a bit, just to keep it legally okay, not work, under De Laurentiis and under Napoli. He just waited for it to be official. My
Yeah.
guess is he'll be in charge of the sales mainly. That's what it'll work, and I think that's an easier angle to maneuver. You know who you have to sell. You don't know yet who is affordable, who you want to buy, where you should strengthen yourself, which he obviously did well at Napoli with all the sales. So let's see how he manages that. But a big move for Juve nonetheless.
Yeah. That's been really one of the sore spots for quite some time at Juventus, is selling players and just really getting what we think we should be getting, at least being somewhat stronger in sales. And it always seems like we're giving up a bit too much here and there on these deals. And over time, couple million here, a few million here, it eventually starts to add up. So it is a big difference. As far as Giuntoli goes, there are some still skeptical, saying we're convinced that this guy's gonna be, the savior, or whatever, the be all end all, and kind of downplaying the Giuntoli move. But I can't get behind that. And if anything, it's for the simple fact that we haven't had an actual sporting director in that role since what, 2018? Like, it's
Yeah,
been close
basically
to that
since
long. So
Marotta.
I believe Marotta left that summer. So it's like, or just after that summer, after the whole Ronaldo thing. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Like, this is going to be big. And the fact that Mana's done such a good job with next gen, obviously now the other piece of news coming out this week is confirmed. Claudio Chiellini will be the sporting director for next gen. So Mana's going to stay up. And even so far, let's talk about Mana, because he's set to get an extension to 2025. And he's going to be working directly with and kind of under Giuntoli as his mentor, and that's also fantastic and big for Juve and whatnot to get him fully developed and strong. And if you have two guys that are going, and if they find a good partnership and whatnot, that'll be massive. We had a good partnership with Marotta and Paratici, and then obviously it all kind of went south and whatnot. But your thoughts on Mana too, and so far his kind of operations?
Well, first of all, let's see who Giuntoli brings with him. And there were rumors about like Napoli's head scout or something. I can't remember his name, but apparently that guy also will join Giuntoli. Yeah, exactly what you said. We didn't have, like a certified, experienced general manager to look after everything that's going on at Juve. It was mainly promotions and like moves trying to avoid financial crisis for Juve. And just to get a bit back to your earlier point, um, yeah, the sales. I mean, I was fine with it when you were this huge club with money. Then that's a given. You have players when they're at their prime, and then when you sell them for a discount. You just let their contracts run out. It usually happens with most of the big teams. But if we are changing direction and going to be this club who buys youth, like Napoli did, like Atalanta do, then we also have to add the sale factor into it, and or admit we just want to be big again and buy all the big players, and then we're not so worried about selling players. But I don't think that's the direction. Mana
Yeah.
has so far he's been in office for I don't know a month maybe since he's been promoted. So far he's done relatively well. I mean, we didn't have a whole lot. We had Rabiot renewing, signing Milik, and some youngsters here and there moving, but it seems like he's working non-stop on a cocktail of Red Bull and God knows what, because the guy's being pictured everywhere like in a matter of hours.
Yeah.
And time will tell. I mean, it's too early to judge their work, but it feels like a right move. It feels like those two profiles would work together well.
Yeah, and I mean, long time coming, long time coming. This was a move they wanted to make, and now we got to start working on those sales we were talking about. So Zakaria is one right now that's being tracked with West Ham as a potential landing spot, whatnot. Finding a solution for McKennie, Zakaria, and Artur is going to be absolutely massive for Juventus. There are also some outside names and whatnot besides those that if we find some moves for, there was a list laid out and it actually didn't even touch the big guys yet. And it was around close to 70 mil if we can get close to what we wanted. And this is where I think you might get some big dividends from Giuntoli because he was a strong seller and whatnot. If he can pull something like that off, where all of a sudden we're getting 70 off some of the dead weight and some of these guys that are on the fringe or whatnot that we can move out, including some youngsters we might see as expendable. That would be a really big coup for Juve because it's still not written and confirmed and solid that we are going to move any of the big guys. There is a possibility like Chiesa, Vlahovic, Bremer all stay. That possibility is still there. There's a strong chance one of them will be moved, but there is a strong chance that they could remain potentially. But that's what I'm going to really have my eyes on is if we can actually now generate some decent sales, rack up a good number without touching some of the guys that I think should be staying, to be honest, then it's interesting. Vlahovic, out of the three, because we're hearing rumors about Bremer, Chiesa, Vlahovic, and whatnot, if you had to sacrifice one, who would you sacrifice, Omer? Because I did the Monday night show for the West Coast viewers, and we had the guys from Official Fan Club of Hollywood there, and they Julio said Chiesa absolutely he would not sell, and he would be fine selling Bremer or Vlahovic. And Matteo said he would sell Bremer, no problem. And obviously, he would sell any of them, he said, if the offer was right. So he wasn't stuck on any of them. For me, I would not want to sell Chiesa or Bremer. That's just me. So I think, like, if I had to, Vlahovic, although I've always said I'd like to see Vlahovic if we had a coaching change or whatnot. But even with Max in another season, I just feel like it's too soon. But if you had to move one, for me, gun to my head, Vlahovic. But Omar, what do you think?
It's a tough question. I don't have like a straightforward answer that I can say, yeah, this guy. Everyone has different aspects of the on reasons why I wouldn't sell him. But I think I have to agree. I think Bremer is right near his peak, age-wise and experience in the league, and filling in for a CB is. I don't think it's easier than filling in for an attacker. And he also had one season. And since we're going on with Gatti and Danilo, we're not going to sign anyone. I think those will be big boots to fill. Chiesa is out of the questions. I mean, don't sell Chiesa, period. I don't want to see him go.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, he's been rumored to go for the lowest price out of everyone. So that's another reason why not Chiesa. But if he wants to leave, I don't think there's much we can do about it. So the only answer left is Vlahovic. But
Yeah.
if you were playing their cards right, I think they can avoid selling all three. If no one is really pushing for a move, if they sell the players they can and buy, for the right amounts and don't go wild for someone, I think they can keep all three. I would like them to keep all three. I don't think we utilized any of them to the max yet.
Yeah. And I agree. I think keeping all three should be a row we look at. Obviously, they're going to have to, something's going to have to give. That's why I say, like, right now, and Apex alluded to it, first priority is moving the guys that have no part in the project moving forward. That's the top priority, to see what your dollar figure stands and then continuing to move from there. Because to be honest, if you can drum up as high a number as you can with these guys that are expendable and whatnot, and the guys that aren't part of the project, that's going to be what helps save these other guys, because we know we're going to be losing automatic resources in revenue from European play. The Conference League thing, it might not even happen either. Okay, there is a lot of weird things and situations I'm hearing, okay, as far as rumblings and whatnot. I ultimately I can't make sense of this either way, because you would think they would want Juventus in Conference League, okay, to actually have a draw, like a bigger draw in Conference League, and it would probably help that and whatnot. And obviously the story situated around Juve playing in Conference League and whatnot, like, but at the same time, I would think UEFA wants to punish us at all costs. Some of us see playing in there as punishment. So the fact of the matter is, one way or another, we're going to take a hit on resources there. So Juve's got to conjure up a way that they could do it, and keeping all these guys might be tough. The books, though, everybody that's set on getting the books right for FFP or whatever over your 3-year term, whatnot, it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen even if you sell one of your big guys. This is why I've been saying for a long time, Juve's got to look at dealing with this with minimizing the amount of damage you do to your roster in terms of assets. Okay? And even moving on Bremer, if we're talking about moving on Bremer, and then you start hearing about Hermoso or, Pau Torres is gone now. So he's settled and done, deal there. It's just one out, one in, and we're not really gaining any ground and whatnot. Juve needs to, in my personal opinion, do everything they can in keeping these guys around and still maneuvering out of this situation. Exor and a bond and everything like that, and people like, you keep talking about that, it's not going to happen. The shareholders, there has to be at some point also, though, everybody, a benefit of actually being tied to these guys, because there's no other club with serious ambitions or bigger club that wouldn't say, okay, you know what, now's the time to do this, to get this right. You have Giuntoli in, and that was almost one of my ties to this whole thing, is Giuntoli's coming in. And if you don't have faith in a guy like this coming in to kind of get things right and set things right, well, then it's kind of tough. But if you're trying to do it without that, you probably are going to have to sell one of your big guys, but you're still going to come up short, and you're still going to take an FFP penalty. And it's probably not going to be to the precedent they set with PSG. I'm just going to say that, because they were double the amount you're allowed over 3 years, and they got like slapped with 10 million. Fine. I can guarantee you we're probably going to end up over that amount in terms of what we're going to be penalized for is over double and the allowed limit. And I guarantee you it's not going to be close to 10 million. I can already tell.
Yeah, all the situation has been weird. We learned that we don't know what to expect. We all expected the salary maneuver case to be the most severe one, but that was just settled very quickly with no punishment. Like the -10 for the Plus Valenza was enough. I fail to see why would UEFA want to penalize us. It generates more money for them. That's why I think they won't do it eventually. Maybe Juve will do it out of their own will. And I have no issues with it. I think the Conference League would be a waste of time and a waste of energy for Juve. And it doesn't generate enough money to justify playing there every Thursday. So I have no problem with Juve giving that up. The fine could be massive. I mean, the earlier numbers were like 23 million or something, which is a lot. That's like the price of a player. That's Zakaria's money going down the drain
Yeah.
immediately. So I hope it won't go that far, but we can't expect anything, not with UEFA and not with FIGC.
Yeah. And that's just it. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all unfolds. But pieces are becoming finalized and everything. So, kind of kick things off. Milik's been renewed. And then you get into done deal for Timothy Weah. Obviously undergone his medical exams. Weah's joining. Milik's been re-signed. Cuadrado farewell. Finalized. And hey, I've said it here a bunch of times. This guy, despite how we felt coming down the wire and whatnot, this guy checks all the boxes to be a legend and whatnot. Now, when people say legend, they think Del Piero, Nedved, before. I put those guys all way above. We've been over this a bunch of times, okay? One way or another, Cuadrado's going to be in J Museum for appearances alone, all right? And the clutch moments this guy had, I will thank him for his services to the club, because he's been a great, great servant. It's just the time has come. The time has come. But your thoughts on the Cuadrado farewell? Obviously, I think we agree it was time.
Yeah, it was time 2 years ago. Finally, that inevitable, a bit of sour ending with him. I don't want it to reflect on his Juve career, because for most of the time, he was a great player. He filled in a great hole that we were missing after Lichtsteiner left and all that right side. He's been there, he's been consistent. I mean, the ending wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
We have to say that, but I don't want it to tarnish his whole Juve legacy, because he was sort of an icon of a certain period that was good for us in our history, and through no fault of his own. That's just the way of life. He became older, football has moved on, and he's not up for it anymore. So it is what it is, but thank you, Panita, for everything you've done. We'll have, eventually, if we look back 5 years from now, we'll have great memories of Colorado, I'm sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, Sandro still up in the air. What's going to happen with him? Trying to find some Arab clubs interested, Galatasaray, whatnot, but nothing actually concrete being reported by Mirko Di Natale as far as contacts and whatnot. We'll see what happens. Dan says he's going to miss Cuadrado. The guy always found a way and had a lot of clutch moments over the years. And like Omer said, it's easy when you kind of feel, or when fans or the majority feel like it's kind of overstayed, the welcome, so to speak, as far as how long they've been there. And then you can kind of shift and turn in the majority's eyes and whatnot as far as perception. However, it will come back around, and like Omar said, overall throughout the time, we'll look back and have many, many great memories that Juan Cuadrado gave us. Now, we got to talk about the Parisi deal. So his agent comes out yesterday, says there are talks ongoing with several clubs, and Juve is not one. And this is not something Juventini want to hear because we want to sign Parisi and we want to bring him in this season. But I'm not buying that at all. Are you
No,
buying
I
that?
don't too. No, no. Immediately when I read this, that's some agent bullshit, just
But I'm
talking to
trying
the
to
press.
figure out why would he say there are no that's the part I couldn't grasp is why is he saying that Juve are in talks when number one his own mother in an interview confirmed the Juve interest. Okay, so they've confirmed the Juve interest and whatnot. Guys like Mirko and Romeo have said there's been talks and said, yeah, this meeting went so and so. There's going to be another meeting probably in a week or so, but they're still working on it, and Ranocchia is going the other way. These guys have been the most credible. Skira, Mirko, Romeo, and whatnot, and they've confirmed talks. What? Why? I can't figure out why his agent would be saying that. That's the part I couldn't grasp.
Um, to be honest, I have no idea. I don't know what's
Yeah,
behind it. I'm sure there's a reason that we fail to see. The way the agent world works is something we just don't understand.
yeah,
And I don't get it either. I don't get what he can benefit from saying he doesn't want Juve. Eventually, Juve are the biggest team in Italy, and like there's no shame in one competitor. Usually, we're used to doing it the other way. That Carnevali from Sassuolo always brings up Juve when he talks about his players because he wants to push the price up and stuff. Maybe that's what they're looking for. Maybe they're arguing over prices, and he kind of wanted to let Juve know that they're not the only ones looking and put some more pressure on agreeing with that 2-3 million difference they had reportedly.
yeah.
That's the only logical reason I see for him saying that. Or other side of it, that it's just true. Maybe there aren't any talks. I don't know. And
I,
but
I
I would say 20% that, maybe even 10% that, and 90% putting pressure on Juve to pay up.
Yeah, I just can't I couldn't figure out why he was. I was just like it's so bizarre to me when you have confirmations of discussions and whatnot and new meetings set and everything, and I'm just like that. It's just strange to me. Anyways, Parisi, I hope in the end we find the deal there. It seems to be Ranocchia going the other way, and it seems to be that Juve is just trying to bring that price tag down. One of the absolute wildest rumors I've heard throughout this time as far as Parisi goes is when they had two youngsters involved, Ranocchia and Sule, and wanted loans with outright or obligations on both or whatnot, and still wanted the 12 million asking price on Parisi, and that's where I just had to laugh. And yeah, absolutely not. But Ranocchia, to be honest, to be fair, is still a youngster that I it sucks to lose him, but obviously out of the group of the youngsters, which is a big list for Juventus, he finds himself as one of the names that we can move on. But he is highly touted as well, and could be something special. But of course, could also not be, and it could also not pan out, and that's one of the things with the youngsters. So see what happens there. Now this one popping up recently here, and Anthony's been asking, and we're gonna get to it right now. Mazraoui offer to Juventus. Omer, your thoughts?
Masraoui, I mean, I don't know yet. I've only seen him play at Ajax. He barely played for Bayern.
Yeah,
Seems like a decent player. Seems like a decent footballer. If they were offered him, the rumored price was Bayern wanted like 20 or 25 million. And you were looking at Castan, and suddenly it feels like there are a lot of options for right back. So it's kind of weird they wouldn't go to for that, but maybe it also came from his side and he didn't want it.
Huh.
But I don't know what to make of it because Mirko kind of squashed that rumor. He said there were no contacts and Mascherano wasn't offered to Juve. So I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah, and it just seemed kind of out there, like out of the blue, right? So it's kind of a weird one, but evaluated at somewhere between 20 to 25 million euros. Um, with the possible purchase of Walker apparently for the Bayern there. So who knows what's really going down. But yeah, Mazraoui just kind of came up out of the blue. I'm not so sure how much is there. The Castagne talks are kind of weird because we were hearing mixed reports after we kind of solidified Tim Weah, and everybody's trying to figure out how Tim Weah is going to play. Like, where is he playing? But Castagne all of a sudden not done and dusted, and still having talks pop up, and it's still saying that Juventus is going to try to find a deal there for Castagne. But who really knows at this point? It's silly season. You're going to get things left, right, and center, but we're going to keep things moving because there's a lot of stuff that comes up, and then these guys are kind of shutting down. You mentioned Mirko kind of shutting that down. There was Christian Romero links for a bit there, and Mirko shut those down as well. Okay, but we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
I
see
didn't
what
buy
goes
those
down.
ones too.
Chiesa, and this one got fans kind of in a huff there when Romeo Gresti spoke with our friends at Italian Football Podcast, Carlo, Nima, and whatnot, and hey, he kind of shed to light some of the things that we were feeling, is that it might actually come down to strategy and how Federico Chiesa is used in terms of what's going to happen with him. And in that 3-5-2 doesn't highlight him. But the other thing he also alluded to as well is, in fact, the salary would have to go up. Like, he is looking at a renewal. His contract will be, he's got the 2 years remaining, and that's also a situation Ailing Jr. finds himself in. But now I'm starting to see a shift. I'm starting to see a shift in some of the fans and what they're saying. Not all, not the majority, but there's fans that are saying, and it's popping up more in comments to news posts that we put out, and even in the daily update videos for YouTube and whatnot. Obviously, the strong majority, nobody wants to see Chiesa go. You and I alluded to that earlier when we were talking about trying to keep Bremer, Vlahovic, and Chiesa. Nobody wants to see Chiesa go, really. The thing is, and what I've been saying for a while, is that if Juve has no intention of renewing Federico Chiesa, this is the summer for them to sell, realistically. The thing is that now I'm seeing a shift with some of the fans where they're saying, if Chiesa loves Juventus, if Chiesa really truly does, he will play for whatever the amount, and he will remain and whatnot. The
It
thing
doesn't
with
work like that.
that, the thing with that is, it's all fine and dandy to say that, okay? But, but you can't then go as a club in turn and give a 1 year renewal away for 7 million euros to an Adrian Rabiot and expect Federico Chiesa to remain at the money he's at and just sign on for a bunch more years. You can't do that and expect the other. Like, Federico
Yeah,
Chiesa's gonna want a pay hike, and we knew a pay hike would come at some point eventually on his renewal. We knew that was going to happen. And I have no problems with Chiesa doing that. Again, you set the precedence with your other pay grades and everything. I think Vlahovic, we could say, was a crazy, amount. And we did the same thing with Delict. Delict came in and was like, holy, that's high salary. You've got to set the tone, and they have to correspond properly to these guys in terms. But I have no problem with Chiesa asking for more money on his renewal and whatnot. Some might say his performance and whatnot, coming back off an injury, what gives him the right to ask for more money? So, Omar, I want to get your thoughts on the Chiesa renewal portion of the rumors and everything.
well, I think it's unfair to to expect him to be this Juve lover that would play for whatever amount. Because eventually, at the end of the day, the clubs and the football world don't see players the way we do. They see them as a product that either you benefit from it or you sell it for the highest bidder. And Chiesa has to think that if they look at him that way, he has to look at himself that way too. If he is a product that is worth this and that money, and other products in the team get paid more even though they don't deserve it or whatever, then he's entitled to ask for what he's worth. Everyone wants to be paid as much as they're worth. And Chiesa is worth more than what he earns right now. And he looks around, and like you mentioned, Rabiot, and we've been through that road with De Ligt and the issues with Dybala wanted to be the top earner, and he had the right to ask for it. And eventually, we lost both of them. We have to be careful here to not repeat the same scenario with Chiesa and Rabiot. And if I said it in the previous podcast, if Chiesa wants 8 million, I believe he's worth it. He's worth the investment, and even in a bad season like this one, where he barely played and just came back in January, he still got the goals and assists, more than what I expected him. At the end of the season, I looked at his stats and said, "Oh wow, he actually got some in."
Yeah.
And so I don't want to let him go. I wouldn't ask him, to stay at Juve for whatever price Juve wants to. If they think he's a product, he should treat himself as a product as well and know what he's worth. There's no issues. Every player treat himself that way. That's why your Del Pieros and Puyols and all those guys are a cut above and are considered legend and stuff, because what they do is beyond the expectations and the way normal footballers act. And
Yeah.
Chiesa is not there.
It's like I understand saying, okay, he missed a good portion of the year trying to get back from injury and whatnot. He obviously didn't perform as any of our attackers the way we wanted them to or expected them to. Obviously, that didn't happen. And for whatever reasons, certain fans believe, okay? But at the end of the day, this guy came for, like, it's just, if you look at the interest too, and this is another thing I go back to. So I see the comments in there. I'm not sure why. So Alex is saying, I'm not so sure why the Rabiot deal bugs me so much and whatnot. It's not that Rabiot resigning bugs me. I've been very, very clear about this. It's the fact he made us a fallback option. Okay? He made us a fallback option, and then he stared into a phone, clearly reading a script or whatnot, talking about this decision he made. There's no decision he made, okay? There was nothing better. That's simple, okay? So the problem I have is that we did it so quickly. And if you think that that doesn't fall in line with other players and their contracts, you're mistaken, because it does. So signing Rabiot to a 1 year at 7 million, but trying to get a multi-year from Chiesa and tell him no on a pay raise, hey, it is what it is. But if you're going to sell him, this is the summer to sell him. So if Juve decides to sell him, all I'm saying is, you guys that keep back and everything, that say, hey, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, who's the replacement? Who's coming in? Like, that's another
That's the
reason.
thing.
That's another reason why I think we absolutely have to get things right now, because this is critical. This could turn 2 years of some struggling, trying to rebuild, whatnot, into a lot longer if we get it wrong. So you want to sell Chiesa because you don't want to renew him, and you guys don't believe that he should be asking for a pay hike or whatever. Okay, in my honest opinion, that's not realistic, because what player is going to look at renewing and not try and maximize their pay grade? If he doesn't get a pay grade from us, he's going to get it somewhere else. So let's say we sell Chiesa. Who then comes in? You want to sell Vlahovic as well. Who's coming in? Because Skamaka doesn't do it for me. And Højlund, to be honest with you, doesn't really do it for me either. Is he
And
banking on
overpriced.
potential? So you got to look at everything. And we just keep going through this cycle of going through guys not being able to, like, truly find. And when Chiesa did come back, I'm sorry, the second striker thing, all our guys were frustrated, and you could clearly see, and nobody was excelling. Even Di Maria, Chiesa, Vlahovic, Milik and Keane that they weren't thriving either. So we have a major, major problem in the offensive phase that we have to sort out. That's bigger than just the players, in my opinion. But something's got to give. Something's got to give. Like now we're going into splashing from one, splashing to another, and in terms of striker potentially. But Chiesa, for me, it doesn't really make sense to move him on right now. 8 million, you might not like 8 million, but I'm sure Chiesa would be able to negotiate a bit and do some. I truly believe Chiesa wants to stay at Juventus. I really, really do. The Max Allegri thing, hey, maybe there's so much smoke there. There's got to be some fire. So let's say that that's one of the things. Tricky scenario because Juve's made their choice there, and people that believe that Giuntoli's going to come in and this is now going to see Allegri leave don't I don't buy into that one bit. The time has very much passed. So Omar, your thoughts on kind of this whole thing and coaching and whatnot, and this Chiesa situation that we find ourselves in.
Look, we gotta remember that things can also, change in the blink of an eye. If Juve have a good season, no matter who the coach is, and Chiesa suddenly thrives, then things might look a bit different. Then he might want to extend. And they're over the bad period, and he managed through. And those things can always happen. And Rabiot scenarios where you think you have a market and everyone wants you, and suddenly you figure out it's not like you thought, and you prefer to stay where you are when you feel comfortable. I don't rule out Chiesa, changing his mind and wanting to stay and making the same money that he's asking for right now. But it's too early to tell. I don't see how Juve replaces him with, an adequate replacement, but something has to change in the lineup.
Yeah.
If your best players are not comfortable where they're playing, that's an issue that you have to consider as a manager. Always, you want to play to their best attributes. That was Max's thing of knowing how to utilize players' attributes. And now I kind of got stuck on this 3-5-2. I hope it changes it as quickly as it can. I don't buy the Bremer can't play in a two-man system and stuff. I
Yeah, I
don't
don't
buy.
buy that either.
Yeah, he's a defender. I mean, I don't know. I don't buy it. Chiesa, but Allegri, if he stays, he should play to Chiesa's qualities, whether it's on the right or on the left. He's a winger. He's most comfortable as a winger, and his best performances for Pirlo and the Azzurri were as a winger.
Yeah.
So it's
I'm
kind of
also
crazy to me that Max hasn't figured it out yet, but he has to figure it out for next season.
I'm also not buying this thing that we are set on kicking things off with a 3-5-2. Like even Romeo saying it the other day, and I'm just like, well, what are you guys basing this off of? The roster's not complete until end of mercato and whatnot, and they haven't even kicked a ball in camp or whatnot. I'm not convinced we're automatically going with this 3-5-2 all over again. And it was strange for me to hear Romeo talk about it and saying that he felt that one up, because I always felt like that was a media thing, to be honest. Like, hey, 3-5-2, but that's gonna see Max and Chiesa not see eye to eye, and he's gonna be gone one up. But I'm thinking the whole time, the first time we heard about him confirming a 3-5-2 was when we saw the video of him sleeping on the beach. And I'm like, so what? He's sleeping on a beach and like, yeah, I'm sticking with the 3-5-2. Like, no. What are we talking about here? I'm not convinced we stay in the 3-5-2 to start the season off, to be honest. I'm not convinced. Last year we kicked things off, it was 4-3-3, and they tried to go 4-3-3. I believe Max is going to try to go 4-3-3 again, to be honest. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think so too. Based on the players who already signed, the players we're linked to that are most credible. If we Cambiaso comes back, Castan, Timothy Weah, and I know the Schiller is still on the roster actually, then we do have some sort of a good foundation to play with adequate fullbacks. If you add Parisi to the mix, then it's fine. Our main issue was that we don't have any fullbacks that allow you to play in a four-man back line. But
Yeah,
eventually, that's just for us, for the newspaper, the formation. It's about the roles of the players on the pitch, and that can change. It does raise the question of Kostic and possibly Ealing Jr. too. Which I would love Juve to go for a trio in attack of Ealing on the left, Chiesa on the right, and one of the strikers in the center. I think it will benefit Kostic too. I think as a left winger, without the heavy defensive work, he can do better.
I think, yeah, I've always thought we can get more out of Kostic as well and whatnot, but he did have a solid season, for sure. We're gonna talk about Magnanelli. I'm just looking through, scanning through. Magnanelli's confirmed. He has left Sassuolo. He's gonna be joining. That was a move that was called 2 weeks ago, whatnot. So that's kind of another confirmed piece of business. We're gonna talk. Zaniolo, obviously, to working for Juve there, trying to give us some leverage and whatnot. We have another comment as well about did anyone see that SMS wants to join Juve no matter if he can do it in the summer or even waiting to join next year as a free agent or potentially in the winter mercado and whatnot. But honestly, it's not so much SMS for me too either, but it's just kind of like that profile for me. Like Pogba's body is what concerns me the most. Is if we can get the continuity we need out of Paul Pogba. That was another thing that I held against making the quick move for Rabiot and not waiting. Okay, so these are the kind of issues. Everybody holds it to Rabiot and the Rabiot signing. No, it was the details for me. I had an issue with the timing and not waiting because if he could have jumped at something better, he would have. Okay, not buying into the Bayern gave him an offer that was more than what he's accepting at Juve. What? No, not a chance. And Man U also offered him more and whatnot. If Man U offered him more, he would be signing at Manchester United. That's the bottom line. It's just if we're a fallback option, there was no harm in waiting and to see what goes on. But for me, just looking at the midfield as a whole, taking that deal out of the equation, it's the profile. If we're talking about Rabiot, and I'll be completely honest here, and this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, but hey, sometimes we love those too, and I never really care if I'm in the minority or not. It's how I feel. If you take Rabiot in that midfield and games that he was not in there, I can only think of probably 2 times, 3 times maybe that season in games he wasn't in there where I was actually saying, holy shit, we need Rabiot in there. And Locatelli gets shit on every time. Every time he wasn't in the middle of the park, I noticed it tremendously. I was like, we need Locatelli in there. Okay. Rabiot, I don't get that impact. His best quality is his availability and his work rate. But at the end of the day, if you've got a big money guy like Pogba and you need that kind of help in the midfield, you got to look for a different type of profile. That was my main thing. And everybody tied it to Rabiot. It's not tied to Rabiot. It's tied to the team and the midfield. Okay. I don't think, and I've even seen it in the comments earlier here. I will take a guy with work rate, heart, and all this, and this fight and drive, whatever, any day. Okay, that's fine. Do you have to pay that much amount of money and on a 1 year when you're in a rebuild to find those qualities? I don't think you do. I really don't think you do. But
No,
besides the point, it's the profile. So getting back to Sergei Milinkovic-Savic and whatnot, there is coming a point where we're like, okay, whatever. Like it's almost at the point where you don't even care anymore, because you've heard this name so many times, whatever. The guy's getting older and older and older. And my whole main stick was if Sergei Milinkovic-Savic, Fratesi were options and whatnot, and making certain moves keeps us away from it, then I'm bothered because at the end of the day, it's more of that profile that I think we truly need to help things at Juventus. I think we need more of the creativity in the middle, and I don't think we should be banking on Pogba's body because that's a wild card.
yeah, exactly. So if Pogba isn't there, I mean, if we start the season with, let's say, 6 midfielders that are Rabiot, Locatelli, Pogba, SMS, Fagioli, and Rovella, I don't need anything else. I'm fine. That's a solid midfield, in my opinion, with A lot of options for backup and playing both right and left, double pivot. There's a lot of room to play in there, and no one is like constricting you to a certain type of play style. Look, Juve, the whole SMS thing, and I know there are rumors that his brother is looking for a house in Turin. Out of all the type of rumors there are, the this guy looking for a house here and there are the most unreliable ones, out of the whole
By the
bunch.
way, his brother's shapeshifter card on FIFA right now on Ultimate, unbelievable, man. Central midfielder Vanja Milinkovic Savic, 93 rated. Holy shit. If anybody's got that card or hasn't
Seriously?
got that card yet, pick it up. It's unbelievable to play with. It's hilarious. Now, continue.
By the way, I said mid-season that I don't mind Juve going for Milinkovic Savic, Venia, his brother. I think he's a solid goalkeeper for Torino. I'm not overly, in love with Tech or Perin. I think they're decent, but I have no problem go. If that's what brings us SMS, I think that's a fairly cheap option. But going back to what I wanted to say, Juve, let's say Juve are the weak ones right now because we're overpowered by FIGC and UEFA. The weak guys have to know where their strengths lie. And for Juve, it has to be the attraction and the history, and players actually want to play there. And if Giuntoli, who's been working at Napoli for 8 years and finally achieved first Scudetto, and first thing he does is pushing for a move to a direct rival, ending his contract early, and fighting with De Laurentiis to be able to work for Juve, that says a lot
Yeah.
about what it means for everyone to be a part of Juve. And I'm not surprised that SMS only wants Juve. If he was open to listen to offers, his agent would have found him someone. EPL something, replacing Grice at West Ham, whatever, would have gotten his very deserved payday. But the fact that there aren't any other rumors, no one else is interested. I'm not buying that no one else is interested.
Yeah.
I really think that he wants Juve. Whether it's feasible or not, we have to make some sales. That's why it hasn't happened yet, in my opinion. But I do think he will end up. I don't think Lutito is going to give the money up. Not in
Yeah.
January, and definitely not next season. I think he'll end up at Juve, and it's fine. That's a good midfield. The six I mentioned earlier are good, hardworking guys with decent amount of technique and complement each other. I would still go for SMS.
Yeah.
That would actually be a ludicrous signing in Juve's current situation.
Yeah. The whole thing with SMS too is again, yeah, his age keeps getting up there. Everybody feels a certain way about his play. As far as Serie A is concerned, consistent, very very consistent. But again, it's not the be all end. For me, it's just more of that particular quality, those traits and whatnot. Even like a Fratesi, whatnot, but like just somebody really really getting involved with more technical ability in the final third and whatnot would be big for us. But it's not bad by all means, but we're still banking quite a bit on Paul Pogba. I think if you're looking at our current midfield, we're still banking on Pogba. Still banking on Pogba.
Yeah, to some degree, yeah.
Yeah. And see, I love Rovella coming back, getting in there. I've said it a lot. I can see a two-man pivot with Luca. Fagioli's capable of playing anywhere in the midfield. Okay. I believe to a degree Rovella is as well. Locatelli is naturally a two-man pivot midfielder, okay, but he can be the glue in a midfield. He can also go to Metsala if you need him to. A lot of people feel that's where he should be playing. I don't necessarily feel that way, but again, that's a lot of versatility there, and whatnot. But still, out of all those guys, Pogba's just again at another level. Nobody can question Paul Pogba's talent and ability. And I've always said that about him. You cannot question his talent and his ability, whatnot. But right now, the big question with him is his body. And again, if we're gonna, depending on how we play and how we use our midfielders, I'm not so sure if we were gonna play with an advanced midfielder like that the other guys can do as much as Pogba. And that's why I'd say another trait might be interesting. It doesn't have to be SMS or Fratesi either, right? And this is one of the things I kind of laughed about because I said, you got to be kidding me if you think, Juve's only got two targets, period. at midfield. Like, obviously, there's going to be a host
Yeah.
of other names. And the media jumps on the names that will gain more attention when not, but there's going to be a lot of other links, and we're just not really hearing about anything. And every now and then, and I'm trying and I'm working hard to get Romeo and Mirko Di Natale on the show. It's tough during this time of year. July, we're about to hit, we should be getting Mirko in July pretty quick here, so still working on it. And they always kind of throw you a couple curveballs in names and whatnot, and I like hearing that more than the constant day-to-day about the big ones. I'm curious about some of those outside fringe kind of rumors, and maybe looking at the hypothetical of those guys, James. So hopefully we can get that very soon and kind of get away from these guys. But in the midfield overall, though, it's not really an issue, like, at all. For me, we could be skinny. We potentially, if any sales go down, we could be skinny up top. Like, Illing Jr. Again, we talked about Chiesa's situation. Illing Jr.'s is kind of the same. A two-year deal remaining. If they're not going to be able to get confirmation from the player, some type of commitment, that is what apparently is leading Juventus to potentially sell, right? So
Yeah.
it's a tricky
I
one.
think we're kind of set. I mean, if we're going into the season with three strikers, Dusan, Milik, and Keane. By the way, I think Keane will have a good season. I don't know why. I have a feeling he'll pick it up this season and get much more playing time. He can play in a 4-3-3, either side of the wing, so he is an outside option. I actually don't think we need to sign anyone for the attack. And if there are good opportunities there, yeah, we should take advantage. But I can't think of someone. Maybe Wilfried Zaha because he's free as a left winger, and then Chiesa can move to the right. But I don't see any reason to sign someone for the attack. So where do you see our most, our area in the pitch that we have to sign someone? I can narrow it down to wingbacks, fullbacks, and a central defender. Maybe if we're going with a back two, I don't even think we need that.
Yeah. If we go back to, I was saying I'm fine. I kind of am and I kind of not, because this is one of the thing. While people talk about Bremer not being able to play in a back four, which I don't buy, you don't buy, we've discussed that earlier. I think he needs the right partner next to him, and I can see him as being the aggressor, the enforcer, whatnot. But there still needs to be a general back there that reads everything, that calls everything. Like, he's not that guy. So even if
No,
you
that's
put Gat,
Danilo.
what's that?
That's Danilo, and
But
Gatti can
Danilo,
be
I don't
that
like
too.
Danilo in a two-back center back system. And Danilo
No,
himself doesn't like a two-back center back system in playing there.
no. If
So,
we do play with a four-back system, I think it'll be on either side of, not in the center, either left back or right back.
yeah. So going back to what I was saying is Bremer needs a general there. I truly do believe that. So if you go two center back pairing, I'm not putting Danilo in there because he's not comfortable with it. I'm not really comfortable with it. He could do it in a pinch, but I don't think it's something we should be basing it on. I wouldn't mind Gatti there, but then I think about the two, and I'm like, man, there's no general there. And you got two aggressors, two kind of enforcers and whatnot, and nobody really reading everything, calling it. And it's all about pairings when you're talking about center backs, and more the partnership than the individuals. I think that I still say we might need somebody. I'd like to see De Winter come back next season and rotate in and whatnot. But again, I think we might need somebody. But who's there? Who's there? Like, who's available? Who's out there that we could bring in that could be that general? It might be, hey, you guys gotta figure it out. And can Danilo be the general from a fullback position? No. Like, you gotta be there. Can the keeper do it? Yep, keepers can do it. Will our keepers do it? I don't know. I don't know. But I'm fine going into a year with Gatti, Bremer, having De Winter come up too. Rugani has been reliable for 2+ years now. Okay, it's not the end of the world. Everyone's talking about Houston. Remain patient. He was
Yeah,
training with the first team last year. He's gonna be on the summer tour this year, and he's going to be training even more with the first team this upcoming season and potentially getting some minutes in games. And that's good. But to think immediately get in the first team, I don't want him just getting into the first team to sit on the bench. I would rather continue on his path, right?
Exactly. And if we are looking at someone who like ticks all those boxes that we said, there aren't a whole bunch to pick from because they're either too expensive, too old, or too young. The only one I see being possible and ticking all the boxes of leadership, left-footed, everything is Aymeric Laporte from City, because they are rumored to be the front runners for Josko Gvardiol, the Croatian guy, and that would be they would have seven world-class defenders. Someone will have to lead. And
Yeah.
Laporte is experienced. He's playing for Spain and is kind of leading the defense over there. Had a good stint at Sevilla. Left-footed, big guy, reads the game superbly. I think he hasn't been, they didn't give him those attributes, but part of the reason Man City have succeeded to keeping it quiet is because he read the game well. And you need someone like that if you want to play on the front foot and press high. You need someone who knows how to clean it up. That's how Napoli did it with
Yeah.
Kim Min Jae. So he's the only option I see that's financially and logically fits the bill. On the other hand, I think Bremer and Gatti and Danilo had like sort of a growing partnership between them that I don't want to give up. Because if we can nurture that into a functioning functioning unit for the future, that would be massive. Both of those guys are 24. If Bremer decides to stay, Gatti, I don't think he'll leave either way. I think he likes being at Juve. Then we don't need to spend on anyone. Like you said, we have Huijsen, we have the Winter, we have Rugani is reliable. If Sandro and Bonucci are out, we're killing it. That's
Yeah.
a decent back line. I'm fine with it.
What's the update on Sandro and Bonucci? Are they moving on? So the Alexandro situation is Juve continues to try to find a solution. The talks of terminating, according to Mirko Di Natale, are starting to fade, which means that if they can't find a solution, they're probably not going to just pay him and say see you later and whatnot. So there's still the potential of Sandro being around. Bonucci's a strange one because Bonucci, we're getting mixed signals. I still stand behind what I've said the entire time is I would expect Bonucci to be a part of the 23-24 roster. However, I wouldn't be surprised if it's done. The latest is that there were rumors that Juve said Bonucci is free and open to talk to other clubs for other potential opportunities. It's a weird one there, but Bonucci's on my list as obviously a guy we can move and get someone else coming in for and whatnot. Szczesny, I'd be open to making a move or not, but Szczesny has been very vocal about finishing his contract with Juventus. But that would
That's
be
the issue with all of them. All the guys you mentioned are sitting on a high salary. That's why I
yeah,
fail to see them move either for Saudi club who can pay them even more.
yeah,
But Sandro Bonucci take are all like 6-7 million. No club is going to pay that for those guys
yeah,
in
yeah.
Europe.
Now, gonna get to some fun stuff, and everybody, questions that you have we haven't really tackled as far as what's going around in Juventus, fire away. Storm the barn, we'll open it up now. Reminder to like the video while you're here, please. Okay, thank you very much for all your continued support. All right, there's a number of ways to support too. Super chats enabled. We have memberships too, and that the private WhatsApp group chat is great for the members and everything. And obviously there's more stuff to do in the memberships. We've got green room sessions that are open for members as well. Fired the first one out there a little while ago after last podcast, and that's just for extra stuff that we don't get into on the live shows and just some fun cool stuff. And there'll be more exclusive content as well. The merchandise is another one. We've got a bunch of new designs. Gobo DNA Unleashed, okay? And that gear people are really liking. So Amici di Nessuno, check it all out, okay? And thank you to everybody who already has. I've got a big announcement, okay? I can't give full details, but the team knows, and Omar had heard or whatnot. But there is, if you're in Canada, and even if you're not in Canada, okay, you might be in the States or whatnot, but there is something like really, really big, okay, coming down the pipeline late this year, okay? Later this year, there's going to be something very, very big going down in Eastern Canada. I will be there, okay? I will be there. Anthony's going to be there. Potentially, we'll have Lucci there as well. I think Alexa will be there as well. Still finalizing details, but I did get confirmation that it's going down and it's going to be big, okay? I will not give you the details, okay? There are 3 names confirmed, okay? 3 names confirmed right as of now. There are 3 names on the cusp that has a lot of stuff that has to work out to make happen, and there's question marks about their future in their respective fields right now that might keep them away. But one of the names is it's wild. It's wild to think that this guy, I might be sitting there and having a discussion with this guy, and you guys will all see exclusively the AJC, okay? And it is going to be partnered up with the official Juventus fan clubs, all right? So again, even if you're not in North America, we're so proud and honored to be the official voice and channel of the Juventus official fan clubs North America. But if you're even abroad and whatnot, I know the guys in JCD Melbourne are incredible. You know, I know the guys in Serbia with Max, who's been on the show here, are amazing. And I see the footage. There's incredible benefits to being part of the official fan clubs, and they take you closer to the team. And what's going to come down the pipeline later on this year is going to be absolutely insane. And it's crazy that we are going to be a part of it, thinking about it and how it's going to go down. And yeah, it's a big, big tease, but trust me, when I can fully disclose this thing, and I'm hoping in a couple weeks, you guys are going to flip out, okay? So it's crazy, and I could only hope that it is the beast Sturaro himself, but without, sadly, no. Okay, no. But well, you never know. I don't know. Maybe. But that's not the guy I had in mind. But it's pretty cool, and like I said, man, it's wild to think about, and we talked about this sometimes, how far kind of this thing has come, and we're still just having a blast and a lot of fun, and it's crazy. And yes, I'll tell you that much. It's planned to be in Toronto. Okay, planned to be in Toronto. But yeah, it's pretty wild to think. And honestly, this all happens because of you guys and your support. And, you guys make some noise for us. I see it all the time on social media. And any accounts that are asking, hey, what's a good Juve account? And you guys put us forth. It's huge. It's huge. And, the right ears, the right eyes catch it. And we've been able to make a very, very strong partnership for ourselves. And I just want to take the time to say thank you to all of you for all the support. It's been insane this year, despite Juventus not giving us everything that we would want out of the season and whatnot. Still, we had a very, very strong season here, and we're not going anywhere. And that's just going to be a testament to us, no matter what unfolds with Juventus, thick and thin. I always say that the tough times make those victories sweeter. Juve's going to be back, and the revenge tour will start hopefully this season, and we can get back where we need to be, everybody. But Omar, you got anything to say to the AJC Army and everything?
Well, nothing but thank you. I couldn't imagine when I joined Twitter, and I got on the podcast because I think it was 2019, maybe 2018. You posted that someone couldn't make it to a podcast, so if anyone wants to, can offer himself. And I asked you if I can come on, and you said, yeah, let's do it. And that's how it started. And a few years down the line, and we're here sitting every week talking about it. The support. I mean, I've got to know a lot of great people and talk to a lot of different people, which I didn't get here. I don't have like any close friend who's a Juve fan and I can experience that with. So having to experience that with all of you is tremendous. I couldn't imagine that I'll be here when I join Twitter. So thank you all. I'm always open for discussions. If anyone wants to DM me, just talk Juve, talk life, whatever. I'm open for everyone. So thank you for everything, and we'll keep doing what we're doing. It takes a lot
Absolutely.
of our time, and we absolutely love it. I enjoy every second of it.
Yeah, what do we? I think the streak was 100 hours in 3.5 weeks or something. We
Yeah,
calculated
yeah,
some
something like that.
live shows and everything that was going on. Unbelievable, unbelievable. Well, see, let's tackle some storm the barns here, everybody, and then Omar, if you got some questions we want to tackle, we'll get into it. There was one there I will get to also in regards to the midfield. But thoughts on Zaniolo and him seemingly being desperate to come and play for us. So we talked about it. We've been joking about it over the past couple of days about him twerking for Juve and whatnot. Um, yeah, and you even alluded to it. It's a good sign that no matter what, Juve has that appeal. And it's something I've said for a while now when people get a little too doomsday, you know what I mean? And doom and gloom and oh, nobody's going to want to come play for us. Whatever Max is here, nobody's going to want to come play. Juve's got this appeal and will remain to have an appeal for players that play in Italy or whatever, want to play in Italy. Juve will be considered with those guys. And there's a lot of guys that will still say it's the project, regardless of Champions League. And they've been hinting at that and whatnot. I don't think we lose our appeal. We lose a bit of it, okay? It'd be unrealistic to say we don't lose any appeal. We lose a bit of it and whatnot, but we'll still be able to draw. Zaniolo, I've said for a while, I don't have a problem with him coming aboard. I think he's versatile. I still think he could do some damage in the right setup and whatnot. Whether we have that, I don't know. But I don't actually have a problem with Zaniolo joining if Juventus were to find a deal. As long as it has to be a little bit low risk. You know, it has to be, it can't be a splash per se, right? But I have no problems with Zaniolo coming in. Omer?
Yeah, so let's take it back. Like we knew Zaniolo is a Juve fan. I mean, if you look back to his post from from 2013 before he was a professional footballer, back in the Conte era, all of his posts were pro Juve. He was a Juve fan. We knew that early on. That's why we've been linked to him for so long, I believe. Look, if there's something we as fans want from the players, from any club, any group of players, they want to know that the players care as much as them about the club, as much as the fans. I want players on the pitch who wants to play for Juve and want to be here and understand what it means and just care as much as I care about Juve. Now, of course, you have more appeal when you're in the Champions League. That will be even more interesting to other players. But players who, regardless, wants to play for Juve, yeah, Zaniolo is is a talented player. There is talent in there that can be used, and he has friends in Juve, and he said it himself. That's his dream. So it doesn't cost a whole lot now. I think it's manageable, even with like a loan with obligation or something. Go for it. Go for it. He's not replacing anyone in the lineup. He's not stepping on anyone's toes. I have no issues with Zaniolo coming. If it's still Allegri, then yeah, it might deter his progression a bit. But still, if he wants to be here, I'm fine with it. He is a talented player, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree too. Like I said, I mean, I have no problems with it if they decide to go that route. We kind of talked about this before, but Vidad's asking is Cuadrado Juve legend. I say yes because I have tiers for legend status and whatnot, but there are like those above legends where I put certain guys, Del Piero, Buffon. I put Nedved up there. But Cuadrado's got a legacy at Juve, and he will be remembered for a very, very strong run with Juventus and whatnot. And he's got the clutch moments, and he checks off all the boxes, the appearances, everything. So I'm going to say yes. Yes.
So I wouldn't put him, up there with all the actual legends that everyone would consider legends. I'll use a different term. I call it legends and icons. Icons symbolize a specific period in Juve's history when they were there, and legends have been there regardless and have been through several different eras of Juve, but still stayed and provided Juve what they needed. That's why Buffon and, like you said, Nedved, Del Piero, if you go further back, then those guys are legends in my opinion. Chiellini has been through a couple of Juve phases, and that's why he's considered a legend. Cuadrado is an icon. When you think Cuadrado, you immediately think of a specific point in time when he played for Juve. With everyone who was around, Mandzukic, Pjanic, Dybala, all those guys are icons of a very specific era at Juve. So I wouldn't call him a legend, but definitely an icon.
Yeah. I see, and I see it the other way. I think iconic is bigger than legend for me
So
because
for me, it's the other way around.
no, because if you, and this is the reason why, because for me, Juventus, somebody says Juventus right away. The names that pop up to me are those guys: Buffon, Del Piero, like a Chiellini, Platini, whatnot. That's why I say icon. Those are icons of the team, like that. They're automatically associated. Legend, you have a legacy with that club or whatnot. But icon for me is bigger because it's an automatic association with set club. But it's fine. We always go back and forth on this, and
Yeah,
to each their own. But we, in a sense, still agree that there are tiers, and he
yeah,
is in there, but he's not with the upper echelon. But nonetheless, he has a
yeah.
legacy
Call it
of
whatever.
yeah,
Call it whatever you want. Is still sitting in the same place for both of them.
exactly, yeah. So Quadrado, yes, is Max a legend without a doubt. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
You can't take away like this. The 2.0 and how it's gone so far does not tarnish what happened before, and it's that he is one of the winningest Juve coaches, whatnot. Like he's a legend. He's a Juve legend as far as the coaching portion goes. Yes.
yeah. We can't say for sure that anyone would have done better back in that period, 2015 to 2019. We only can say for sure what Max has achieved. And what he has achieved is pretty remarkable. I mean, we can't know for sure that Conte would have continued the same way Max did. We can assume that, but an assumption is not a fact. The fact is what Max did, no one has ever done in the Italian league. And I think that puts him up there.
Yeah. And I agree. I agree. Now, we have to take one of these questions. I saw it a bit earlier. We didn't get to it because of the discussion, but I did want to go back to it. I just didn't mark it, but here it is. It's from Vidad and it says open to discussion. But now with Brozovic leaving Inter, we have the best midfield in the league. Hmm. Omer. Best midfield in the league now with Brozovic leaving Inter?
I don't think so yet. On paper, if you look at the names, e- even if you bring in SMS, and then on paper it looks like it, but on the field, I think Napoli's trio of Anguissa, Lobotka, and Zielinski have performed tremendously together. I mean, they were very reminiscent of Pirlo, Vidal, Pogba, who complemented each other. Even Marquisio, it just worked perfectly. But that was only one season for Napoli. It could all, tumble down without Spalletti at the helm. Suddenly, Rudy Garcia tries something different, and it doesn't work. But at the moment, their trio has functioned better than everyone else's in the league. Inter are weird because they have some names there that are not appealing, but overall, it did function well. I still think Barella is a cut above our midfielders. When he's on his day, he's a phenomenal player. I mean, I can't deny it, whether you like him or not. Brozovic leaving, yeah, it leaves a gap, but he didn't play all that much this season anyway. It was mostly Chalanulu and Martirian. So evidently on the field they were better, but on paper, with the right coach or the right system, Juve can jump both those two teams.
Yeah, if I think we've got one of the top midfields too. I
Yeah.
think that's fair to say. On paper, if Pogba can play consistently, yeah, I would feel a lot better about making that statement that Juve's got one of the best midfields in the league, if not the best midfield in the league. But again, kind of comes down to that. So we'll see what happens. In terms, Jeremiah's got one here. Will Rabiot become our MVP again next season? How do you guys feel? Are you confident? I certainly am. He will be a force for us again. I think he's going to be in the running again. I would hope he's in the running again. How confident am I? Probably around 70%. 70% confident that he'll be in that mix. There's a part of me that's a little skeptical and whatnot, but that's just because of 1 year out of four under his contract being strong like that. But he picked it up right at the right time at the end. He's still on a short contract, so he still could potentially be looking for a payday, and that might play more into the chances of him doing it again. But and it could just be Max Allegri and the faith that that coach has shown in him as well, and they continue on their partnership that has seen him be labeled the crazy horse and what we get. So yeah, I mean, shit, I might have talked myself up to 80%. But yeah, and I hope so, to be honest. Regardless of what I thought about how this whole thing played out and Juve maybe should have waited a little bit long just before making a final decision, I still hope for the best and obviously want all our players to be in the running for MVP of the season. But yeah, I'm probably around a 75, 70, 70 to 80 range percentage wise of how confident I am that's going to happen. So, Omer?
Yeah, I think he just, hit his peak at the exact age that everyone picks, 27, 28. That's where all footballers are at their best, in my opinion. Look, I love nothing more than players and managers shutting everyone up, all the criticism, including my own. So if Rabiot can shut all of us up who criticized him and actually lead Juve to something and be a figure like he said in the past season, he wants to be a leader in the dressing room and stuff. I would gladly, shut up and said I was wrong about Rabiot. But it's up to him. I mean, he needs not only to keep what he did in the previous season, but also even pick it up a bit. And
Yeah.
with SMS coming and Rovella and Fagioli, there is competition to push him to play even better. And that's the thing, competition. That's what's been lacking at Juve, and players were just, free rolling at positions because they knew they'll play no matter what. They're the first choice. Give him competition. Let's see how he fares. If he doesn't do that well, fine. We have other great players.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think Alex P has got a great point here too about Rabiot just maturing. Could very well be as well. Could very well be as well. Apex saying that Inter is probably going to be bringing in Fratesi, going back to our midfield discussion and whatnot. Yeah, maybe Inter's. It's funny for me, like Marcus Thuram, they pick up and all this, and there's still all these other rumors, but like they absolutely have to sell. And it needs to be like a fire sale. So it's like I'm just waiting for this to kind of go down, but like they have to. They absolutely have to sell. So it's
Yeah, so they already sold Brozovic. They lost Skriniar. Lukaku is not a guarantee. Dzeko left. Correa is leaving.
yeah, like it's
And
going to be
they're
like
looking to replace Gosens, Belanova. They didn't extend the option. So they
yeah.
they have lost a good chunk of players so far. Most of them not for money, just either not renewing
That's
or
the
running out
thing
of
is
contract.
they need money. Like they need
Yes, so
money.
Nana is the next one for
Yeah.
60 million going to United. That's actually a lot of money. That would probably guarantee them for Tesi. It needs to happen quick, but that's a huge loss for them because Onana was pivotal in their style of play, especially his passing. And you don't find a lot of goalkeepers with that amount, with that range and accuracy of passing. So
Yeah.
either way, they're getting worse. They're not signing someone better than Onana.
Yeah. Now, enough about those clowns. Fuck. Jesus. Enough.
The Inter
That's too
podcast.
long. It was only
Yeah,
probably like a minute and a half, but that's a minute and a half too long. Does winning the Conference League do anything for Juve, or does it just bring more ridicule? So here's the thing. This is how I feel, and we kind of got into it on Monday night's West Coast session. I think it's good in terms of how many young players are at Juventus right now. And I will always feel the same way. Any season, whatever is up for grabs for Juventus, we need to get after it. And no matter what, okay? Does it bring more ridicule? It'll bring more ridicule from the Chihuahuas and the rival fans or whatnot because they'll downplay anything. But don't forget that they were downplaying us making Champions League finals, losing to two of the best sides ever assembled. And now all of a sudden it's a huge feat because Inter made it despite losing to Man City and whatnot. So they downplay everything. They downplayed 9 straight Scudetti, even though nobody can repeat right now while the league's kind of in the shitter, to be honest. So they're always going to downplay everything and whatnot. But for me, no matter what is in front of Juventus, it is important and crucial for them to get after it. The Conference League would present a great opportunity for the young talent that we have to just gain more and more experience together. And while not really technically in the young column, but still young, like I mean, and definitely to me, I'm 1 year away from my prime as of 2 days ago. Okay, but Gatti, big for him. Fagioli, Rovella coming with us. Illing Jr., who I hope stays with the team and whatnot. Like, big for these guys. If we bring in Parisi, huge, huge. So I see benefits there. And for me, I will always want Juventus to get after it and go full throttle at everything that is open and available and in front of us. So, Omer, your thoughts?
yeah. It's a question of approach for me. Like, how do you approach those games? How do you as a team view this type of tournament? Are we going all in? Like when we have matches, do all our best players are playing? Because if you are in there, they are major favorites to win it. So what happens if you don't? There's a risk of being even more of a laughing stock by not even being able to win the Conference League, because obviously no Champions League, evidently no Europa League, and no Conference League too. There is a risk there that involves a lot of pressure for the team. But regardless, like you said, I think this team really needs a trophy, start establishing some, winning mentality to all these young guys and give them a first taste of what it feels like to win a trophy. This could be a good benchmark for all of those youngsters. Um, Financially and, just in the overall season, it's very time consuming and not that worth it. But if you were in it, if they're approaching it, as a second tier tournament and all the young guys are standing there, then I will view it differently. But if they're going all in, then they have to win it. That's
Yeah.
the tricky thing.
So Apex got a comment here about rather not focus on the league. It's good for the youngster, but it's a third tier tourney, and watching West Ham celebrate it like they won the World Cup was a bit embarrassing. Hmm. How do you feel about Apex's comment there? Did you find it embarrassing how they were celebrating? I mean, he's got another point here about West Ham celebrating Conference League was even more embarrassing when you consider their budget versus the other teams in that league and whatnot.
It's tricky because, like, you gotta ask a West Ham fan how
Yeah,
did he see it, because they don't win a lot of titles and they probably won't in the EPL. I don't see them, climbing up there to be at the top with all the other big six, big seven in England. And so for a club who doesn't win any trophy has a meaning. no matter what you win. But I'm not a West Ham fan. I mean, Roma won it, was their first European trophy ever, and that kind of, brought all the group together. And they did took a step up. They didn't win it eventually, but they did make it to the Europa League final too. So
Yeah.
there is progress there. So if winning the Europa League for Juve is a step in the right direction and the start of some sort of a project, and that will be like a testament to it that this team can win, then fine, I won't laugh at it. And we're Juve fans. I mean, trophies are bread and butter. We enjoy them no matter what. You can downplay any tournament if you want to and give reasons why even the Champions League is not what it used to be, and it's not worth as much as it used to be in the past because the competition has dwindled massively.
Yep.
I don't know where I stand on it. Honestly, I gotta
I
see the
mean, at the
teams.
end of the day, too, if they were gonna throw shade, like I said, rival fans and whatever, and they will throw shade at anything. Juve gets shade thrown at them for absolutely everything, anyways. But again, Juve wouldn't be a Conference League team if it weren't for the nonsense that unfolded. So if they put us there and we compete in it, hey, the ridicule and the shame that you would throw at us is really needs to be thrown at UEFA and whatnot, and all of them for the penalties and FIGC or whatnot. Because yeah, we technically sul campo on the pitch whatnot would not be in that tier. So that's another thing as well. They
Yeah,
kind of bring it on themselves.
they'll downplay everything with win.
Yeah,
That's the thing. It's only the way we view it. And I would love nothing more than Sheffering having to give Juve a trophy. So
yeah,
there's also that in winning the conference,
yeah.
sticking it to UEFA.
Jeremiah, I'm gonna let you guys guess. Okay, how old is Alberto? You guys can guess. Okay, and
I'm not
appreciate
even
it,
sure.
Anthony. Much appreciated. Okay, yeah, June 28th, a couple days ago, celebrated the birthday. It was a great day. You guys, big news today. Giuntoli done, finalized. Nico Skira just actually posted finally. That is all done. 42, 44, 44. You guys. Holy smokes.
Okay,
Let's
I'm
reverse
not
those.
sure.
Let's
I'm not
reverse those
sure.
twos.
Yeah, I think
That
it's
looks good for you bastards.
39, I want to say.
35, 37, 27. My man.
How old
uh,
am I? Let's see if you get it.
Look at that. A couple 30s in there. 33 like me. There you go. Oh, man. There's some of you are very close. Some of you are very close. Dan's very close. Dan is very close. Okay. But
Yeah.
no, you guys, we're gonna wrap things up here today. Good live session. You guys in live chat, absolutely fire. We're heading into a long weekend here where I am at. Okay, and I'm looking forward to. I'm gonna be heading out to the lake, so your daily update videos are gonna be from the lake. Okay, and it's gonna be. I'm looking forward to just getting out there and just relaxing, taking it easy. All right, 69. Jesus, Vidad, come on, take it easy. But yeah, we got a lot of big stuff planned too. We're gonna have a lot of giveaways coming up very soon too. Okay, so we've got a kit giveaway. All right, we're gonna be giving away a lot. Okay, I'm a man of my word. Max Allegri remains. That means 10 kits are gonna be given away this season, no matter what. Okay, and probably a bunch of them will be early on. I have fandomculture.ca. We have a couple of awesome box sets. If you guys haven't checked them out, you can check them out. And they ship across North America. So unfortunately for anybody overseas and whatnot, you're not going to be able to get that stuff off there. But if you win it as a prize, I will ship it over to you, okay? So we're going to have some cool giveaways. That'll be through the official fan clubs. We're going to have meetings and some live shows with them as they give us updates. The US Tour for Juventus, anybody that's heading out there, if you guys want to reach out, I'm going to have a ton of info, okay? So I'll be able to tell you where the club's staying, okay, in each city. I will probably even be able to give you the flights, okay? So I'll have flights that I can give you if you guys want to check them out at airports or whatever. And special events right now, they are going to be setting up camp in Los Angeles 7 days, okay? 7 days are going to be in LA. There is practice session guaranteed for Los Angeles, open to fan club members only, okay? So you got to be an official fan club member to get into that. Open practice, and then there's a private event. Last year, it was an interview with Del Piero and Chiellini. This year, don't know the details just yet, but there is a special event in Los Angeles on top of the open practice. San Francisco, Santa Clara should potentially be getting an open practice the day before their game against Barcelona, and Orlando also set to potentially get an open practice for official fan club members the day before their game there against Real Madrid. Okay, so a lot of stuff going on. I'll give you more details as they come in. Anybody who hasn't reached out to me, obviously there's going to be a tailgate party session on game day in Santa Clara. That's where I will be this summer. Reach out. A bunch already have. I look forward to meeting you all, okay, and mixing it up. Last year was an awesome time in Los Angeles. This year I'm going to do it in Santa Clara, and there is 30 of us from just the official fan club in Vancouver that are making our way to Santa Clara, which is going to be awesome. And tickets are all set up. We are going to be in the Curva there in Santa Clara, and hopefully, we get the banners going, the flags going. But they got a lot of praise for the setup that they did in Los Angeles last year, and Agnelli went as far to give the Juve fan base open letter and whatever, and a presentation and a bunch of gifts or whatever for everything that they did. Okay, so it's going to be very, very good. And North America in general, there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline. Okay, so it's going to be very, very interesting to see. Everybody, you guys, enjoy your weekend. Thank you as always for your continued support. All right, and take care. As always, I'll keep you up to date. They're going to come from the lake this weekend. Fino alla fine. Forza Juve. Giuntoli is a part of Juventus now. I remember because I keep all the receipts. But there were some chihuahuas piping up saying Giuntoli would never leave Napoli for Juventus. Oh, I have those receipts. And he was very adamant. And he was very, very strong in his words about what he was saying with conviction. Giuntoli would never come. He's not coming. You're dreaming, Juventino. Hey, dream has become reality. And to those chihuahuas, I say, even in a Scudetto winning season, they can't wait to get out of Napoli. All right? Take care, everybody. Enjoy your weekends, and we'll talk to you real soon. Fino alla fine, Forza Juve.
Yeah.